Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Verblingites. My name is Holly, and today we will be doing an intermediate to advanced level reading activity on population science. What exactly is population science? It's actually a topic basically where we talk about the growing population problem, if there is one, and what scientists and sociologists believe that the world should do about it. And that's really by having women in certain countries get more education. So the more education a family gets, a person gets, the less children they'll have. That's the idea of the article. So we'll be talking about that. We will be going through vocabulary words. We'll start out with keywords. Then we will read the article, and then we will check understanding of the article. We'll look for other words, and if there is time, we'll go through the first and second conditional, and then discuss whether certain things will happen, and talk about the conditional. So that's the plan for today. It should be a good class, and hopefully, if people are at the right level, it should work out really well. So. Tell you a little bit about me. My name is Holly. I was born and raised in Idaho, and that's where I'm currently living. Let's see. Idaho, that's where I'm living. Idaho is a small state. I live in a town of 850 people. Let's see, the population is very, very small in Idaho. I actually started teaching English in Finland in Korea in 1994. Hello, Javier, how are you? Hi, Roger. Javier, I can't hear you yet. So maybe try to set up your system. Hi, Roger, how are you?
Hey, teacher, how are you? I'm fine.
Good, good. How was your day?
Good, good. Quite busy,
Good.
but yeah.
Hi, Ramon, how are you today?
Hello, I'm fine, and you?
Very good, very good. Um, it's kind of been one of those days where everybody needed me. I had to babysit for my sister. I had to drive my mother to the doctor. It was one of those kind of days. So, um, so did you all have a good day at work?
Yes, yes. So far, so good.
So far, so good. Good. And Ramon, remind me where you're from, Brazil or
Yes,
Colombia?
yes. Yes,
Brazil. Okay.
Brazil.
And
Brazil,
and Roger,
Brazil.
you're from Mexico, right?
No, from Colombia.
Colombia. Okay, then I've got you confused with somebody else. Sorry about that. Javier, can you speak yet? No, I can't hear you yet. So, hi, Helena. How are you?
Hello, teacher. I'm fine, and you?
Very good. So, where are you from, Helena?
I'm from Brazil.
Brazil. Awesome. All right. And then we've got Ahmed. Where are you from, Ahmed?
Um, I'm from Egypt.
Egypt. Awesome. What time is it in Egypt right now?
It's very late. It's too late actually. It's
Oh,
3
okay.
a.m.
Three,
Yeah.
3 in the morning. Okay. I have a tendency to stay up that late as well. I think yesterday I think I finally got to sleep at 3:30 yesterday, and I had to get up at 4:30. So
Very good. You're
so,
workaholic,
I don't know if I'm a workaholic, but
you
but it
seem to
just
be.
oh maybe I don't know. I have had my period in my life where I definitely was a workaholic. But so hi Juan Carlos, how are you?
Hi, Holly.
How are
How
you
are you?
doing? Very
Yeah,
good. Very
I'm
good.
doing great. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. So we've got Roger is from Colombia. We've got Ramon from Brazil.
Brazil.
And
Yes,
Juan
Brazil.
Carlos, where are you from again?
Me?
Oh, Javier, yeah, where are you from, Javier?
I'm Peruvian.
Peru?
Yeah, Peru.
Awesome, awesome. And then Juan Carlos, where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Colombia, okay. And then Helena, where are you from? You told me already. And I've already forgotten. So, and then Ahmed is from Egypt. Okay, Javier, could you mute your microphone when you're not working and when you're not speaking? So, Helena, can you remind me again where you're from?
Yeah, I'm sorry, teacher. I'm from Brazil.
Brazil, okay. Brazil is Helena and Ramon, and then Colombia is Roger and Juan Carlos. Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm muting you, Javier, because I keep hearing my voice. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to do a reading exercise on what's called population science. Does anybody have any idea what that would be really about? Any guess?
No.
How many inhabitants?
How many inhabitants? Population, the number of people. Okay.
About
Yeah.
7 billions.
Okay. All right. Well, let's. I have a question for you guys. The global population is growing rapidly. What problems do you think this could cause in the future? So, Ramon, what do you think?
I guess it's because some people don't have instruction and they can't avoid babies, especially in poor countries. People used to have many child, and that's
Okay.
it.
Okay, so that is why. Can you think of any problems that this could cause?
I guess first of all, we won't have space for everyone in our planet, and I guess secondly, we won't have enough food for everyone, and I guess, and the third one is the water problem.
Not enough space, not enough food, and not enough water in some areas. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a good. Those are good answers. Thank you, Ahmed. What do you think?
Yes, what I think.
Yeah. What problems do you think this could cause in the future?
Yes, I think the fertility rate is going down. I think. So I think the world is becoming bigger for us, not the opposite as most of people think. So so in the future, the population will decrease. The number of population will decrease on the Earth.
So you think that population? You think so? You don't believe that the global population is growing rapidly. So you believe that the population is going to decrease eventually. Okay. Thank you for your answer. Javier, what do you think? You're going to have to unmute. Up on the top of your screen, you press on the microphone. Okay, I muted you, so now you need to unmute. I think you're new, so we can't hear you. So you need to unmute. Okay, until you figure that out, I'll ask Roger. Roger, what is your opinion about the growing population growth?
One of the problems, I think, is we will be fighting for resource because there are not enough resource for a growing amount of people in the world, and I guess that one of the problems will be also the contamination, because more people produces more contamination in the world. So
Okay.
I guess that natural resources are going to be affected.
Yeah, like food and water. So contamination. Okay. And Juan Carlos, what do you think?
I agree. Of course, mm, we don't have enough resources, any kind of resources.
Uh-huh.
So the more people, the lesser resources to share.
Uh-huh. So not
Uh,
enough resources. Uh-huh.
yeah, and there are a lot of people, mainly very poor people, who don't don't mind. I don't know, because they had a lot of babies.
Mm-hmm.
They don't try to stop having
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 uh, sons.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, um, population is growing up rapidly.
Okay, okay. So you disagree with Ahmed, where Ahmed says the population is going to decrease. You actually say that it is actually on the rise and increasing, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I disagree completely.
Okay.
He
Okay.
he's gone, Ahmed.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully that's just a internet problem. Sometimes I think he comes in and out. Javier, you need to unmute. I wonder, can I unmute him? I can't. I can only mute him.
Only mute.
Yeah, you can only
Maybe
mute somebody. You can't unmute them. So
okay, maybe uh, he
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 doesn't
doesn't
know.
know the screen, but it's
Yeah.
just to look for the microphone icon and click on.
Yeah, I'm look for the microphone icon. Okay, Helena, what do you think?
I agree that with most students, when they say we're going to have um, we're not going to have enough resources, food, space, water, and so on. But if you, I don't know about where you live, guys, but here in Brazil, if you observe the number of kids people have nowadays and the generation, 2 or 3 generations ago, people had a lot more kids before. I don't know who is. I'm listening to my voice. I'm sorry. I cannot speak like this. I cannot concentrate. Anyway, if you observe this this fact here in Brazil, so it points out that maybe in the future the population is not going to grow so much because my grandmother, for instance, had 6 kids, and
Uh-huh.
my mother had 2, and I think about having only 1.
Oh,
So,
okay. So it's going lower.
yeah.
My grandmother was from a family of 12 kids, and she had 4, and then her son, which is my dad, had 5, and I'm having none. So,
Yeah, I think this is a world tendency.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right. Javier, now that you figured out where the mute button is, can you talk to us? So first unmute. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, okay. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell us, what do you think about global population and
Yeah. I think that the people the people that have not things or the poor people can use the money them to not.
Okay, Ramon, we can't understand you. It's choppy, really choppy. The sound is very, very choppy. So sorry about that. So the sound is very choppy. It sounds like it's coming from two places. So maybe maybe you have the classroom on twice. If you could check your screen. So hi Rodrigo, how are you?
Hi, teacher. How are you? I'm fine.
Pretty good. Good. Okay, what do you think about the global population growing rapidly? What problems do you think this could cause in the future?
Maybe the contamination. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe contamination. Okay. Thank you. Let's go ahead and look at some key phrases that we will read in the article, and then we're going to read an article and discuss that article. We have the developing world, secondary education, primary education, fertility rate, environmental resources, estimate, child mortality, and incentive. And number 6, for example. If it's as a verb, if it's a verb, the pronunciation is to estimate. But if it's a subject, it's an estimate. Just a FYI for your information, the pronunciation is different. So Roger, could you read the definition for A and see if you can match the word?
Okay. I guess at the size or number of something.
Yeah. Which one do you think that would be?
Number of something.
And if you don't know, please.
Maybe. I guess that is fertility rate, but no, I'm not sure. Incentive. I'm between those two.
It's actually another one. Does anybody have an idea what that would be?
Estimate.
It's an estimate.
Yeah, an estimate.
Okay, Holly, can you repeat, please, the different pronunciation?
So for the definition, I guess at the size or number of something, that is estimate. But if it's a verb, it's to estimate. So the last syllable is actually stressed. Estimate, like he incorrectly estimated the number of people who would join the party. The estimate of the number of people joining the party was 12.
Okay.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. So let's number B. Rodrigo, could you read that one?
Okay. Something that encouraged you to do something.
Okay. So go something.
Okay. Something that encourages you to do something.
Okay. And be careful not to eat the S at the end of the word. That's a very common encourages.
Okay, encourages.
Okay, what is something that encourages you to do something? Anybody know? Or Rodrigo, do you know?
No. Environmental resource. Maybe the first one, the developing world.
No. Anybody else have an idea?
Incentive.
Incentive, yes. Yeah. So say for example, for people who, if you go to work in the morning, because they have given you your salary as an incentive, you know.
Oh.
So okay. C.
Okay.
Ramon, can you read that one?
Hmm? The countries which have less developed economies in Africa, Southeast Asia, and South America.
Okay.
And let me see, developing world, number
Yeah.
one.
Are any of you guys from developed countries? I don't think so.
No.
What are some developed? I mean, most of you guys are from South America. What are some developing countries in South America still?
Developing countries?
Yeah.
Most of them.
Here they use
Colombia is a developing country.
You think
Well,
Colombia is a developing countries?
Yeah.
yeah.
You have less developed economies?
Sure. We are working hard in that because we are not so advanced as other
Countries.
economies in the world. Yeah.
Okay.
Brazil or I guess that even Argentina. I don't know. But Brazil for sure is not a developing country from South America.
Okay. So Brazil is definitely what we would say a developed country.
Yeah.
Or we would say also another one is first world. Then there's second world. And then third world. And then possibly based on your description, Roger, Colombia would be a second world country. Would you agree with that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, and I'm thinking third world would be, I don't know. So
Maybe, maybe you are thinking about Africa.
Yeah, and well, India is kind of second. Part of it is second world, and part of it's third world.
Yes.
You know, yeah, it just really depends on. It depends on the economies, the education level that people have. You know, there's a lot of things. Okay, let's go to the next one. D. Juan Carlos, could you read that one?
The education of children between the age of 11 and 18 years old.
Okay, remember also not to swallow
Ages.
the S. Ages. Yeah.
Okay.
And so what would that be?
Secondary education.
Yes, secondary education. And I think in the first and second worlds, people get a secondary education, and it's the third worlds and the developing worlds where they might not get a secondary education. So, okay, E. Javier, can you speak? See if we can understand you this time. Okay, we're going to skip you just for now. Helena, could you read number E, letter E?
Okay. The education of children between the ages of 5 and 11 years old. The primary education.
Okay. Now, since I'm an American, I do need to. I say humor me. I'm American. We actually don't use primary in American English. In American English, we say elementary.
Elementary.
Yeah, but that's just.
So, primary education is British.
Yes. What I do, it's kind of, I guess it's, I don't know if it's unique to me, but I like to use British English material as an American so that I can teach both vocabularies. Because I know the American English very well, but if I see the British, I go, okay, that way I can teach both.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, and I think that comes from having I lived in Europe for 11 years, and so that's what I started doing. And so when I started teaching at Verbling, I thought, oh, that's what I'll do again. So, okay, let's go to F. Bruno, could you read F? And welcome, by the way. Bruno, you're here? Okay, so maybe he stepped away. So Roger, could you read F?
The number of babies each woman has fertility rate.
Yes, the fertility rate. So, and then supposedly in third world and developing countries, the fertility rate is much higher than in first world and developed countries. Okay, Rodrigo, could you read number G?
Okay, the number of deaths of children within a particular time.
Okay, so the number of deaths of children.
Deaths of children.
Okay.
Okay. Child mortality.
Yes. Child mortality. Very good. Okay, I will read the next one. Things that exist naturally, such as plants, water, oil, etc., which people can use. And that, of course, is environmental resources, which many of you mentioned that if our population continues to increase, we will have less of these environmental resources. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to read an article, and I'll have each one of you read a paragraph, and then if there's pronunciation issues, I can go over the pronunciation real quick, and then also guys can ask me if there's any words or phrases you do not know. Okay, we're going to, as we read the article, let's see if we can find the answers to these questions or these statements. The present global population, the expected global population in 2050 according to the current trends, the global population in 2050 according to the United Nations estimates, the average current fertility rate, the estimated average fertility rate in 2050, the percentage of Indian boys put through secondary education, the percentage of Indian girls put through secondary education. Did you guys hear that I said estimates here and estimated here? And did you also notice that I said 2050 here and then I said 2050 here? So those are both 2050 or 2050. Both are correct. And I guess I said 2050 because it was the last word. I'm not sure why I chose that. So, okay, so educate girls to stop population rising. If girls stayed longer at school, they would have fewer children, professor says. Okay, so Ramon, can you read number 1?
Okay, the sudden growth in the global population could be limited significantly if teenage girls in the developing world were given the opportunity of completing a secondary school education, says leading expert in human numbers.
Okay, now if you slowed down just a little bit, then this word right here would have probably sounded like world instead of word.
Okay, world.
World, yeah. So sometimes people try to read faster or speak faster to sound more fluent. And instead what happens is you run into pronunciation issues. So it's totally fine to just speak a little slower. Unless that's your personality to speak faster. That's also the way. Number 2, Juan Carlos, could you read number 2? Oh, first of all, in number 1, are there any words you do not know?
Excuse me?
For everybody, is there any words in the first paragraph that you do not know? Okay, silence. Okay, number 2, Juan Carlos, can you read that?
Okay, secondary school education is one of the most important factors that causes them to have fewer babies in later life. Say Joel Cohen, professor of population at the Rockefeller University in New York. That could cut the expected growth in the human population by as much as 3 billion by 2050. The present global population is 6.7 billion, but will rise to as much as 11.9 billion by then if current trends continue. Secondary education motivates people to have fewer babies. It improves the survival of the children and improves their ability to care for their own and their families' health. Professor Cohen said.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any words or phrases in here that you do not know? Okay. And remember, Juan Carlos, try not to eat the S's. Try to, causes and stuff like that. But any words or phrases here? Does everybody know what it means if it says current trends as much as 11.9 billion by then if current trends continue? Does everybody know what that means?
Is keep going.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if current, like the fertility rate, if it continues the way it goes, okay. Excellent. Let's go to number 3. Helena, could you read that?
Okay. Education promotes a shift from the quantity of children to the quality of children. This reduces the future number of people using environmental resources, and therefore people and societies can cope with environmental change more easily.
I love your pronunciation. It's very, very clear. Very good.
Okay. Thank you.
So, any words in here, everyone? Okay. Bruno, can you speak yet?
Sorry, teacher.
Yeah?
In the last paragraph, what is cope?
Cope, okay.
Cope with environment, yeah.
Yeah, to cope with, see, since this is a new word, keep in mind you also learn the preposition, because cope with always has the same preposition. Whenever you use the word cope, you always use the word with. And to cope with might be to deal with, or you know what to deal with means?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it means basically it's the same way. And also to deal with has a preposition as well. So it's a new word, so just use the preposition with. And I guess hopefully Bruno will come back. I think he's had problems with his microphone. Thank you for asking. Number 4, Roger, can you go ahead and read that?
For the growth in human population will worsen environmental problems as more people compete for limited food, water, and land. Attempts at limiting growth have concentrated on providing birth control to women, but secondary female education is seen as increasingly important. The United Nations estimates that the world population will hit 9.1 billion by 2050, and that most of this increase will be in developing countries in Africa and Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia. But this median estimate is based on fertility rates, which will decrease from 2.55 children per woman today to slightly.
Okay, let me bear with me. To slightly
over 2 children per woman by 2050.
Okay, great. So right now it's 2.55. By 2050 it'll be two children per woman. So I'm not contributing to the population problem, by the way. So number 5, Rodrigo.
Okay. If each woman has on average half a child more than UN estimate, then by 2050 the world population might be as high as 10.8 billion. If each woman has half a child less,
It says child, half
child,
child.
half child less, it may be as low as 7.8 billion. Professor Cohen said secondary education can influence that outcome dramatically. Although other factors exist, women in developing countries who complete secondary school have at least one child fewer per lifetime than women who complete primary school only.
Okay. Okay. So keep in mind, I want to go over pronunciation real quick. There's child, and then we have children.
Okay.
So they're pronounced differently. Then we have women, which is a very common mistake made by people. Everybody pronounces it like woman. So women and woman.
Okay.
Child, children.
Child, children.
Women, woman.
Women, woman. Okay.
Yeah, and this one, especially the women, is a very common mistake. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ramon, could you read number 6?
Okay. A reduction in child mortality is one way in which education leads to lower fertility rates. Parents who are more confident of the survival of their children have reduced incentives to have many children, Professor Cohen said. Unfortunately, in many developing countries, boys are significantly more likely than girls to go to secondary schools. In India, for example, 58% of boys are sent to secondary school, and only 47% of girls.
Okay.
Percent,
yeah. And then just a FYI, in American English, we spell it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Without space.
Without a space, yeah. Just one difference. Yeah, and okay. Are there any words or phrases in this paragraph?
No.
Okay. All right. Javier, have you fixed your microphone yet? Oh. My computer has decided that it doesn't like me. Okay, let's go. Come on now. Okay. So I always have a backup. This is Adobe. This is Mozilla. So bear with me. Let's bring it up. Okay, the last paragraph. Last paragraphs. I'm going to go ahead and read these out loud. Professor Cohen said that if the international community helped to fund the education of girls in the developing world, it would be possible to limit global population. For the next several decades, almost all rises in numbers of people will occur in the cities of the less developed regions. This large shift presents an opportunity. It will be easier to reach the added children and to attract and retain their teachers. Any words in here that you do not know?
No.
Okay. Next one. Universal high-quality primary and secondary education is achievable within 25 years. Educating all children well is an affordable and achievable way of developing people who can cope with problems. Okay, so can anybody basically explain the main idea of this chapter, of this article?
I guess the main idea, they try to point out if the girls have a high education, it's probably they won't have many kids as they used to have nowadays, and as the consequence, the world will have many people in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, and do you guys agree with this?
I agree.
Do you agree?
Completely agreed.
What do you guys think of China and their one-child policy?
I guess that they had to do it because they were so crowded is the word. They were so crowded. There were so many people, so they did have to.
So they had to do it.
Thinking in a way to stop the growth, the growth of the population.
Okay. So it was important. Have you guys heard about the problem that they are running into now? Has anybody heard about the problem in China?
I guess it's because the population is getting older, no?
No, it's because they're using abortion. So because in their culture, the oldest son is the person that takes care of them when they're younger. So they're either having girls and putting them in orphanages, or and not they're basically rejecting the girl, or they're having abortions so that they can get a baby boy. So now there's more Chinese boys than there are girls. And so they're predicting now that the Chinese boys will have to go abroad to get a wife.
Yes, that's a big problem.
Because I've already had, not in China, but in some countries, they don't have strict laws like they have there, but people in the past had incentive to avoid kids, and all countries need at least some level, because if you don't have kids, all the population don't have kids, the population will become old in some years. And in some countries it's happening. And the government is trying to give some incentive to people to have kids again.
Yeah. Well, do you know which countries that would be, Ramon?
I guess Japan is one of them. And as far as I remember, I guess it's some country from the Scandinavia area, but I'm not sure if it's Sweden or Denmark. I'm not sure, but I'm sure about Japan because their population is getting old.
Yeah, because I had actually heard about Japan because the women don't want to stop working. Yeah?
Yes, that's it.
Someone was going to start? Who was that?
What?
Did somebody start?
I have heard about Canada also giving incentives for having children there.
Have you guys heard about the money that people in, I think it's the UK, Ireland, the Scandinavian countries, Canada, I think even in Australia, that they get a certain amount of money every month if they have a child?
Yeah.
Do they do that in your countries as well?
No. In fact, here in Colombia, there are like some companies that offers like what is the name of that? Advisor. They are like advisors in order for you to get to Canada, for instance, and they say you can go there and you can build, or you can form your family there, and you have these benefits and all that stuff. Like an opportunity that they offer to people around the world, because they are not, they are getting older and they don't have enough child population in the country.
Yeah, so
at least
maybe
around the world.
Maybe those guys they would be, maybe I'm guessing, but immigration specialists maybe.
Yeah, those are companies like specialized in that kind of things.
Yeah. Wow. I was actually quite surprised with the amount of money that people can get out, for having kids. I was like, really? And I asked, as many of you know, I lived in Finland for 11 years. And so I asked my students what they did with the money. And so if the family was kind of middle class or they were poor, they used the money for a living. But if they were well off and they had a good income, they would take and put the money in savings so that when the kids turn 18, they would have this money for starting out. Or they would use it on the kids' hobbies, or if they needed extra money for something. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Teacher.
Yes.
In fact, we have something related here, but it's not an incentive to have kids. It's just some money for people live, but I don't know why they keep having kids. Because here, the government in Brazil used to give contraceptives for families. But anyway, they have kids. I don't know why. The contraceptive here is free. But anyway, there are families in some parts of Brazil which people have 10 kids yet. But on average, I guess here is 2 kids for a family.
Okay. Yeah. Have you guys heard about the baby box in Finland?
No.
No.
This is every child. Bear with me a moment. This is just something that's kind of interesting. Every child in Finland, every parent, they have a choice between getting a baby box, in which they actually use as a bed for the first few months, and or money. So usually the first or second children, or if they have a child and then 10 years later the second child, they'll take the box, and they have all kinds of different things in here. And one thing they have in here is, which I think is quite funny, is condoms. So, but regardless of your socioeconomic situation, every Finnish family goes through and gets a baby box. And it made the news here in the States about a year ago, and people asked me, Holly, is it true? I was like, yeah, but the baby sleeps in it usually for the first few months and stuff like that. So, but anyway, yeah, I think it's fascinating hearing about how different countries do this kind of stuff. So, so where are we as far as time? Let's quickly answer the following questions. Number 1, what can limit the growth in the global population according to Professor Joel Cohen?
Education.
Education, yes. Do you all agree?
Yeah, especially for girls, according to him.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of girls, especially in some cultures, they're just told that, okay, you grow up and you're going to be a mommy, and so forth. What problems will global education growth cause? I think that you guys already answered.
Water,
yeah.
space.
Resources, environmental resources.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah. What has been provided to limit population growth, according to the article? Anybody remember? Bear with me a moment.
That one I don't remember.
I don't either, so I'm looking. I'm looking at the answers. So, there's a reason I have 2 of them up here. So, birth control. So, possibly condoms or birth control for women. So, but it takes 2, so they should have all kinds of birth control for men too. So, where will most of the population increase be?
Developing countries.
Yeah, developing countries, specifically in Africa and Southeast Asia. In what ways does a reduction in child mortality influence the number of babies that women have? Any idea? The answer is parents are, if there's less child mortality. Do you guys remember what that means?
Yes.
Death. If there's less, if parents are more confident that their children will survive, they are less motivated to have more children. So they have 9 children because only 4 even make it past 18. Then if they know their children will survive, they will have fewer children. Is the professor optimistic about the limiting population growth? Do you guys remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's optimistic.
Yeah, and he believes that it is possible to get to these less developed countries and provide education. Okay, so I will want to encourage you guys to download this worksheet to do a little bit of grammar and so forth, first and second conditional. I want to really quickly go over the first and second conditional, and then we're going to do some practice speaking and giving your opinion on things. So the first conditional, for example, the present global population will rise to as much as 11.9 billion by then if current trends continue, or if each woman has on average half a child more than the UN estimates, then by 2015 the world population may be as high as 10.8 billion. Okay, so this one, this means the first conditional means, yeah, I will zoom. Thank you. The first conditional means that it is a possible situation in the future. It is possible in the future. So, and then we use the present simple. We use will, can, or may. Will rise. And we use things, words like when, and as long as, unless. Okay? I'm going through this really quickly. The second conditional. If girls stayed longer at school, they would have fewer children. If the international community helped to fund the education of girls in the developing world, it would be possible to limit population. The sudden growth in the global population could be limited significantly if teenage girls in the developing world were given the opportunity of completing a secondary school education. This is, the first one was possible. This possible event. This one is an unlikely situation. Okay, and when you have an unlikely situation, you use things like would have. You use the past tense, would, could, past tense, would, could, should, and so forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice. Practice these things right here. For example, look at the following situations, decide if they are impossible, unlikely, or possible, and form a conditional sentence for each one. So, for example, it will rain this weekend. If it rains this weekend, I won't go out. Or if I had a holiday next week, I would go to Portugal. So this one, if it rains this weekend, I won't go out. If I had a holiday next week, I'd go to Portugal. So if you guys could go ahead and the first one, let's start. Juan Carlos, could you finish this sentence? It will rain this weekend.
It will rain this weekend. I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't understand what I have
What you
to
would
do.
do? Just tell us what will you do if it rains this weekend? So I'll just ask a question.
Ah,
Okay. What will you do if it rains this weekend? So
if it
say,
rains this weekend, I'll stay at home.
I'll stay at home. Okay, that's good. If it rains this weekend, I will stay at home. Okay. Roger, what will you do if you have holiday next week?
If I had a holiday in next week, I will visit my family.
I will visit. Okay. So is that a likely or an unlikely event? A possible or event? Or
Possible.
Okay. And that's good. Okay. Good. Now, Ramon, you speak 10 languages. If you speak 10 languages, what would you do?
If I speak 10 languages, I would be a very happy hyper polyglot.
Okay, yeah. So actually, you would change it to a little bit. If I spoke
Yes,
10
that's it.
languages,
If I spoke.
Yeah, if I spoke 10 languages, I would be a very happy polyglot. That's a very good answer. Okay, so Juan Carlos, Javier, can you speak yet? Is your microphone working?
Yes.
Okay, anyway, Juan Carlos, what will happen if your country wins the Football World Cup?
If my country will win the Football World Cup, the people here will go crazy.
Okay. The people here will go crazy. Good. Okay. Roger, you will go out tonight with some friends. How would you form that sentence? So what will you do if you go out tonight with some friends? Any ideas? Hello? Are you there? Okay, we just have a few minutes left. What I'd like to go on and discuss the following questions. Are there any parts of your country that are overcrowded, and what problems does this cause? Ramon, why don't you start?
Yes. I guess there are some parts here in Brazil are really crowded, especially the capitals on the center-east of Brazil or in the south. But in other hands, in the northeast of Brazil, the cities are not crowded, not even the capitals.
Oh, okay. So you do have you've got the same problem that my country has. It's the cities that are overcrowded, but we have so much countryside that is not.
That's for instance, the big São Paulo, they have 12 million people.
Wow.
12 million people. Imagine.
All of Idaho, from north to south, the widest range is about 12 to 15 hours to drive. We have 3 million people in all of Idaho. So
it's a very big state.
Yeah, very big state with few people. So we don't have we don't have a population problem at all.
Yes.
What about Colombia, Roger and Juan Carlos? Is there a population problem or overcrowding problem in Colombia?
I haven't seen as a problem at this point, and I am living in a capital. So no, I consider that there is still like a big problem in Colombia. Not in the cities, at least. Maybe there are some cities that I don't know that are having or are experiencing that problem, but at least the capitals, no.
Okay.
I disagreed.
You disagree with Roger? Okay, talk to us.
Yeah, I disagree because the capital, Bogota, is, I think, is very overcrowded because we are more than 8 millions, more or less. And we
Wow.
had a lot of problems like traffic jams, uh, uh, safety problems, mm, education. We had a lot of problems because our city is overcrowded. Pollution too is another big problem.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting. Do you both live in Bogota?
No, I live in Medellin.
Okay. Do you live in Bogota, Ron Carlos?
Yeah, I live in Bogota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Medellin is smaller than Bogota. I guess that
Of
less
course.
than the Bogota
Medellin
is double quantity of people in
Yeah.
Bogota.
is,
I,
of
I
course, Bogota, Cali are
I was
is
only there for 4 days, but
smaller.
I didn't see a problem. I was at of course, I was staying in a 5-star hotel, and I had a very good experience in Bogota, but I didn't take the buses. I took taxis, and so my experience in Bogota didn't see any problems at all.
But it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was 5 years ago too. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
and
but you stays just 5 days, I think.
4 days. Actually, I thought about it. It was the trip was 4 days, but I had to fly to New York first, which took all day, and then fly to Bogota. So it took 1 day to travel, 2 days there, and 1 day back. So it was only really there 2 days, even though it was 4 nights, 3 nights, 3 or 4 nights. So too bad we can't hear from Javier because he is from Peru. But
Hi.
hopefully you can figure out the microphone so you can enjoy some other classes, Javier. So thank you very much for your participation and making it to the end of class. It looks like a lot of people had to take off for one reason or another. I hope you learned some new words and got some practice.
Okay, Holly, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, teacher.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.